Okay, so I guess you can see. All right, good. Good morning. This is our Zoo Mountain Spirit. I'm here in Mango Creek, Belize. Want to thank Antonanco.org for the t-shirt. And yesterday I kind of got you started, and I wanted to give you the rest of the story. So remember the calabash here? The one that I planted from scratch before I moved, before my garden was um, burnt down and destroyed. I salvaged some planting material from all of the plants that I had there. And one of them was this calabash. Now, this calabash had given me 11 years, more like 6, 7 years of fruit. So these calabash were made from the fruits of his mama. And I still have them. And I remember that after I got off the air with you yesterday. It's like, wow, I use these as bowls for eating, for seasoning, for drinking, for bathing, for holding things. So I wanted to show you the different sizes. For us, Garifuna people, the calabash is sacred. These are the vessels that we use, the only vessels that we use when we're offering on the ancestral altar. It's very important for us to have the calabash. And there's also a sisera, an instrument, the rattle, that's made from a different type of calabash. So we have 3 different types of calabash. The water bowls, the food bowls, and then the ones we use for sound vibration, for bringing up the vibrational frequency. So here they are. So I'm showing them to the baby so that he could be proud of the fruits of his mama. So this guy is gonna grow to be strong like bull. So I want to help him out because he's in the savannah. He's not used to this climate. So if you just bear with me, I just want to clean around him a little bit. That's what I was planning to do this morning, so I decided, okay, let me just bring you all with me so you can see what my day is like. How is everybody? I hope you're enjoying the weather wherever you are. So now the reason I'm putting on gloves is because a bunch of ants have decided to move in here, and I really don't want any issues with them. I don't know what neighborhood they're from, you know, what their peoples are like. So I want peace. And I don't want them to take it out on the calabash baby. So I'm just gonna pull the weeds around it. And when the ants get upset, then I'll just start cutting. Yeah, the little baby is still there, hanging in there. So I'm just making space around it, and then I'm gonna put some soil. I'm gonna leave this bush of grass here to kind of help shelter the wind, because the winds come by here really, really strong. And as you can see, he's already stressed from the wind blowing. So if you just bear with me, once I finish with this, we finish with this task right here, I'm going to take you around to the back and show you, I have a surprise for you. I have a couple of spices. So I'm just gonna go get some soil. I'll be right back. Don't go away. wasn't too bad, right? Almost done. So I'm just gonna scrape around. And then we water. Oops, you didn't see that, did you? There you go. Oops. They need a lot of water because the savanna gets so dry. So now that we finished our task for the day, I'm going to take you with me to the rest of the garden and show you the surprise that I have. So come along. We're off. Carry everyone with me. Remember, look at the watermelon vine. Well, we can't be rude, right? We can't just walk by. We have to say hello. And do you see that? Uh-oh, don't want to upset. You see the baby watermelon? I have to stay away because the pollinators. Yes, the pollinators will sting you if you get in their way. So we learn not to interfere when they're at work. Too many people interfere with their business. You see my little watermelon? Okay. Well, we might as well say hello to the marigolds that are here. Oh, you didn't see this one. This one was like I pollinated this one myself. This one was a little teeny tiny baby. And it's the only one I got from this particular vine. It looks like they didn't really like it that much. But the marigolds help with attracting pollinators. This is a cactus pear, what we call scageneal, that is flowering. I put it in the bucket until it gets its bearings, and it lets me know where it likes to grow. Now, you've heard me talk about the, don't worry guys, I haven't forgotten. You've heard me talk about the mahatita. This is a mahatita. This is the king of bitters. I hope you can see him. Can you see him? Yeah. This is a mahatita. He's trying to get his bearings. I put him in the bucket as well. More marigolds. And these are some of the ones that I put in buckets so that they can retain some moisture, and they also get a little bit of shade here by the house. By the way, the mahatita, there's a video. If you go on the channel, you look up the King of Bitters. There's a nice video profile on it. There's also a profile on the Leaf of Life, which I hope you can see here. That's the Wali Lama over here. And then in here I have more indigo. And chancapilla that's growing in there. And in this one I put in a whole bunch of mahatita seeds. But I'm going to keep you posted as to how that goes. Guys, I really hope you're seeing this. The There is a plant that flowers here that is used for essences, and it is one of the most expensive essences in the world, and it is a frangipani. And I managed to get a couple of branches. I'm not going to tell you how I got it, okay? That's not to be discussed here, all right? But I'm going to show you it. All right. This is the frangipani. Oops, where are you? Can you see it? All right, you know what? I'm not really happy with this stick thing. I feel better when I hold it in my hand and show it to you. But the surprise, okay, here's the surprise. Have you ever seen a vanilla? You ever seen a vanilla plant? I was blessed with a few cuttings of vanilla. So I want to show you what's happening. So I planted them, first, I think I planted them wrongly because I wasn't really experienced. I didn't really talk to them properly. I was just excited and put them in the ground. So they got a little pissed off. So I'm gonna show you the pissed off ones and then I'm gonna show you the ones that we did properly. Okay, so these are the guys that I planted first. And you can see they're not happy. But then, I'm gonna take you real quickly. I had the idea to put them in pots, and this happened. Wait, hang on, I'm gonna... Then this happened. Can you see? I put them in pots. I just stuck little pieces in the ground, and they started to grow. And more grew, and more. And now they're growing like crazy. Now, you've heard of the kola nut? Have you heard of the kola nut? Somebody gifted me a couple of kola nut trees, and here they are. And they're gonna grow in about 5 years. They're going to give us some nice seeds. Actually, these are about 2 years old, so maybe 3 more years. And you can see it likes dry soil. I'm gonna water it today, so it's not gonna exactly stay like that. But aren't you excited about the vanilla? So this is an orchid. So it's going to flower, and it's from that flower that we will get the pods, and in those pods are the seeds, and that's where the vanilla is. There's another spice I want to show you. You probably know what the rosemary looks like, but I want to show it to you anyway. I was very happy. It's hard to grow rosemary in this climate, but I got a little piece from Baba Roy, and look at it. Look. You see it's growing next to the chancapiedra. The chancapiedra has little, his roots with nutrients in it. This is my rosemary. It was a tiny little sprig. And next to it is a little damiana. That was a surprise. And then the other spice is the silver queen. This is Artemisia ludwosiana. It's one of our sacred plants. It grows rather quickly. Charmaine Castillo brought me this one from Belmopan. They all have the same origin. And this one I got from Baba Roy, who's cultivating them in Dangriga. Okay, now let's go to your other surprise that's over there. I bet you can't guess what it is. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess the surprise? Not yet, huh? Okay. Have you ever seen a cinnamon tree? Well, this one, it's not that big. I mean, it grows big, but this is a baby cinnamon tree. And in our tradition, we don't use the cinnamon wood. That's a colonial European thing that came later. The African tradition, we use the leaf. We don't we don't brutalize the plant by cutting at its bark and taking pieces of its flesh for our pleasure. The essential oils of cinnamon are in the leaf, and they're gentle enough, they're pleasant enough, and they have enough nutrients and medicine in the leaf. It's enough for us. So because the Europeans couldn't really cultivate the cinnamon in their climate, they just started hacking away at the bark, killing the tree. So the best way, the harmonious way to use cinnamon is to utilize the cinnamon leaf. So that's what we do in our tradition. And so I have a teeny tiny little tree here that Baba gave me. Let's have a look. I'm gonna put my face in the picture. There. Oh dear. You see? Can you see? This is the cinnamon. You ever seen a cinnamon before? This is your first time, huh? So, you've seen the cinnamon, you've seen the mugwort, the artemisia, rosemary. What other spice? You've seen the calabash, and I have a little cacao plant, but I'm kind of almost embarrassed to show it to you because it's not doing really well. The cacao has to be grown with another tree that's called madre cacao, and madre means mother. So the cacao, in order for it to flourish, needs a mother tree, and it's a tree that gives it shade, but it also fixes the nitrogen in the soil around the cacao. It drops food on the growing cacao, so its leaves have all of the nutrition and all the food, nutrition, and protection that the plant needs to grow. And once the cacao starts fruiting, it grows out, so it doesn't need the mother anymore, just like kind of like a human being. But what happens to a cacao that's grown without the mother is not pleasant. Now, unfortunately, they have bioengineered a cacao seed that doesn't need a mother. And I advise you that when you buy cacao, when you buy your chocolate, just see if you can make sure that it's from a cacao that grew with a mother. So I missed telling you something yesterday about the pissabed. On top of the fact that I have 2 videos on the channel about the pissabed. One is more granular than the other. But I will be teaching at riocosmico.org. If you go to riocosmico.org, I will be teaching the course, the Ganivisi course, starting May 15th, I believe. Well, just go on their webpage or on their site and see what's going on there. Check out the other courses. Put yourself on the mailing list so that any of the other courses that come through, I can see you and we can connect. Okay? So this is the Ganivisi that I was speaking of, remember? With the pods. So Ganivisi has agreements with other plants. These are my plant people. I'm not playing here. These are my people plants. Ganivisi has an agreement with the ants. You're always going to find ants. I had some students that came once I was taking them on a tour, and this is good for you to know for when you come here, so that you know people plant and plant people etiquette. Number one, they were wearing repellent, which is really offensive to my plants and my pets. The iguanas got all upset. Everybody got all upset. The ants they were all like, don't bring those people over here anymore. So that's offensive. So try to find, natural pesticides, like, even the word pesticide is offensive. But just protectors for you that don't offend the animals. So there are a lot of natural oils out there that you can use for that. So, but what she did was, as soon as she walked into the garden, I saw her stomping. She was killing my ants. They help me. They work with me. They work with us. Without the ants, the Ganivisi could not produce medicine. It couldn't help you. So people don't realize that when you are assassinating the critters that live with these plants, you're interfering with their family. You're interfering. It's like coming to my yard and burning down my house, or taking away all my food. Like, you're really throwing off the balance. So these are things we have to think about. Please. And for a while, I had stopped doing retreats and tours because it was just um, too much hostility being expressed, and I didn't really know how to transmit the message gracefully to my humans. So I just stopped doing that because I couldn't handle it. But now that we're back in action, we can start talking again. And I know it's not all of you, but it just really only takes one to come in here and start killing everything. And then I have to stay here and live in the environment and explain to my animals, that my little critters, that all humans are not like that. So let's more of us try to be like that. The ants and the ganibisi go together. Just like you saw the ants with the calabash. They go together. Certain things just go together. Interestingly, the other day I was in Plasencia, which is it's a resort place here. And a woman said to me, a beautiful sister, she was telling me how much she liked, her favorite color was this periwinkle. And I'm looking at what she's pointing to, and there's nothing periwinkle about. I don't know a periwinkle that's any of those colors. We didn't get into an argument about it. We went to fact check, and she found that the definition for periwinkle is the color blue. It's a blue hue, right? There's no such thing, okay? And this is how the world has confused our people, especially our youth. Because people come here and they get a tour, and we show them, they see in nature the periwinkle, and they want to argue with me that that's not a periwinkle. Now I'm arguing with them that the color that you are calling periwinkle is not a periwinkle, right? It is a vinca variety, which a periwinkle is. Periwinkle is a vinca. But the periwinkle that's the color of that blue is called a lesser periwinkle. They have to put the word lesser in it, Lesser, all right? You can't make medicine with it. It's strictly ornamental. And stop calling it periwinkle. But let me show you a periwinkle, just to settle this. Oh, hello guys. This is Inasiabi. Hey, say hi to Inasiabi. He's a guardian, so he's guarding the entrance to the garden. You want to see periwinkle? You see? This is a vinca. It's a true vinca. When you think and hear periwinkle, I want you to think it's either this color or white, or a deeper hue of this color, but not that blue that they're out there defining and calling periwinkle. Okay, that's it there. And look what's growing next to it. Remember him? This is a big indigo. This is the one that they used to dye the blue jeans. Like this fabric here was dyed with indigo. One of the reasons blue jeans are so expensive, like the real expensive ones that cost $200-300, is because of the process of extracting the dye from indigo, and it's costly, I guess. But what they're doing is they're selling the fake indigo, the ones that are dyed with chemicals, the same way. Now, what makes a pair of blue jeans or fabric dyed with indigo so special? And it's an African technology. What makes it special is that cloth does not collect bacteria, because the antibacterial in the indigo protects you. So it's a fabric that our ancestors would make from a cotton or a natural loom, dye it with indigo. But it was more than just a color. It would render the fabric like a super cloth. It would keep you warm in the cold and keep you cool in the heat when it was too hot in the desert sun. But when you sweat, It would absorb your sweat and dry it quickly. So it worked with your skin. If you had a cut or anything, if you happen to cut yourself or have a sore or an infection, just wearing garments that were dyed with indigo was more than a band-aid. That wound would heal because it's a wound healer. There's some deep stuff here. We've lost a lot of our technologies, a lot of the knowledge, a lot of our ancestral African technologies, and we really have to start bringing that back. You know, don't believe what I say. Look it up. Do your own research. Look up the indigo. When I heard that I could grow indigo, I couldn't grow the indigo in the rainforest. It's one of the things I was telling you about. So when I got here, I started, everyone who had ears to listen, I need indigo seeds, and I received a sack, well, an envelope, I call it a sack, of indigo seeds, and I planted them, and they just scattered themselves all over. The birds ate most of them, but I have enough. There was enough for me and the birds. Yeah. So that's my little indigo. What else? I was gonna show you. Oh, there's a group of plants that are known as cancer killers. The main one that I want to show you today, because I want you to remember everything we talk about. And if we do too much today, you might forget something. But I want you to remember this plant. So we're gonna walk on over there. Have you ever seen a lemon? I know I keep just injecting stuff in there. Lemongrass. Look, 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 look. Here's a baby lemongrass. See? Lemongrass doesn't care where he grows. That's one thing I discovered about him. He likes anything. The other day, I was in Dangriga. I haven't forgotten. We're going to go to the cancer killer. Okay, we're going to the plant I was telling you about. The other day, I was in Dangriga, which is one of the main hubs where a lot of black people live in Belize. Cruise ships won't go there, okay? But if you come to Belize, you got to visit Dangriga. So the sargassum is in. And we have always had use for the sargassum. It's not a nuisance to us. But remember, we used to farm. Before they took us off the farm and started using us in offices and shipping us around to do corporate work, we used to farm. We used to grow our own food. So the sargassum did not offend us. It wasn't a burden. So everybody was complaining about the sargassum. And while they were complaining, I asked somebody for a garbage bag. I needed a sack or a crocus sack or something. So I started filling up on the sargassum, and I brought some home, and everybody was asking me, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with my neighbor? Hey neighbor. They were telling me all horrible things about the sargassum. Sargassum is seaweed. You can look that up too. Come on, we're educating people here. And they said it's going to kill your plants. We don't use that. What are you going to do with that? I said, it's fertilizer. We use it to return nourishment to the soil. Oh no, it's going to smell. The birds are going to poop on it. You're going to get insects. So they had every horrible story you could think of about why I shouldn't carry the sargassum. But there's a process. When you harvest the sargassum, it comes just in time to give you 2-3 months before planting season. So when you get the sargassum, you pull it out of the sea and you lay it out on a patch of land, like on the corner of your farm or something. And then you let it go through the rain season. And what the rain does, it washes all the salt out of it. So that's the sargassum. It didn't look like this when I brought it. It was more yellow. So I laid it out here. I put grass over it to help it mulch. And after it rained, I put a tarp over it. Of course, the wind blows it. And it's going to be there until it's time. It's turning into fertilizer. It's going to be there until it's time to start planting in a few months again. And it's not all the plants that we use sargassum fertilizer for. Some are more amenable than others. And the coconut is definitely one. The calabash, there are certain plants that, and the citrus, that benefit more from sargassum fertilizer than others. And as opposed to, contrary to what people think, it doesn't attract bugs to your garden. It actually, when it gets to this level of chemical constituency, it actually repels bad critters, or critters that would be that would not be beneficial. So that's my sargassum pouch. So that big tarp you see was to cover the piles that I had put down. So I'm making fertilizer. And at the same time, I'm creating patches. So I don't have to cut the grass. I don't have to violently go and chop grass and uproot. I'm making, these are planting beds. These are very natural planting beds. So when planting season comes, all I have to do is put a perimeter around it, chop into the soil, and put some black soil like you saw me do with the calabash. Put some black soil across the top, and the plants will be really happy. That's the same thing I did over there. That's the same thing I did over there, where everything is coming back. So that's developed over there already, and we're just waiting for it to grow through the rain season. And then I'm going to prepare this side over here. Hey, you know what? I could use some help. So if you come into Belize and you feel like working, hit me up, inbox me. Come with some muscles and some overalls, hopefully dyed with indigo dye. I want to put a perimeter planting bed along the edge of the fence, because I realize that that's where most of the moisture and nutrition from the land settles. So the plants that are doing the best are the ones that are on the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and work with nature and just go ahead and build that edge there. So the ones that I'm holding in the yellow buckets, there are thousands of plants in there. Don't kid yourself. So those I'm going to transfer onto the planting bed. Okay, so I'm going to show you the cancer killer. This away. This way. Walk this way. This is my tree orchid family. I haven't forgotten. I'm coming, I'm coming. See, they're in coconut shells, and they eat charcoal. So I put a little charcoal inside the coconut shell, and they're all thriving, doing really well. I managed to salvage these from the other farm, the one that was destroyed. I know I keep saying that, but it's taken me a while to, Okay, have you seen this guy before? This is Annona muricata. Now, right now, I just got a waft of the essence. You cannot mistake this plant. When you go near this tree, is the aroma that hits you. I mean, it is so aromatic. The leaves have cancer-killing properties in them. Now, in our tradition, my grandmother used to make me bring her 5 or 6 of these leaves every morning, and she would make tea with it, and that was her tea. She would have soursop leaves, avocado leaves, mango leaves, maybe a little piece of ginger, and 1 or 2 cinnamon leaves, and that was her tea. She was good to go. Science has found that this plant contains very, very powerful cancer killers. We're not going to learn everything today, but I wanted you to know that for every illness that humans can create, God has sent a plant to take care of it. The fact that we don't know what they are yet, or that there is an enormously strong force preventing us or stopping us from learning about them, that's not the problem. We have to push through that. Our intent to learn how to heal and what plants heal us has to be stronger than their intent to stop us from learning. And that's the epitome of health autonomy, is insisting on learning. So stop this, oh, I didn't know, I've tried everything. Don't say you tried everything. Keep searching. Call on your seeking spirit. Call on your ancestors who were healers back then. Because every single lineage of us melanated people has ancestors who were expert healers. They are my teachers. But you have access to them too in your lineage. Don't abandon your ancestors. Keep learning. And what you learn from the ancestors is verifiable by science. That's what I learned. They're not going to come out and teach you. I'm talking about the people of this world to wear white coats, them people. They're not going to get out of their way to teach you because you're taking money out of their pocket, if you know what I mean. But your insistence to learn is what has to prevail. There are plants that kill cancer cells. That's all I can tell you. Otherwise, they'll censor me and get me out of here. And I won't be able to talk to you anymore, right? Anona moricata is one of them. Look it up. This is a soursop. It's called soursop. And they even give them ugly names because there's nothing sour or soppy about it. Know this plant. Know this plant. Now, they have figured out how to do things to fool you, and I'll tell you in a minute. This plant produces a fruit that looks almost like a heart, like a human heart. It has the shape of a heart. And it's spiky. I'm gonna post some pictures of the fruit. It's not fruiting yet, so that you can see it, but also search it and look it up. It has a lot of seeds. Now, the strongest cancer-killing properties of this plant are in the seeds. And wouldn't you know, they're making one just for you that's seedless. How about that? Stay away from it. You want those seeds. And even if you don't eat the seeds, or even if you spit them out, the point is that the fruit has that healing energy in there. If it's too much of a hassle for you to eat a fruit with seeds, and the seeds are an inconvenience for you, then you are promoting the seedlessness of our people. This insistence on buying watermelons with no seeds, that's suicide. Right? We have plants that want to help us. We don't want to promote the infertility of our medicinal plants. So get the ones with the seeds, with the black seeds. Well, they're kind of dark brown, or maybe a little darker than me. But this is the soursop. So have a look. I'm gonna take you through it. It's a tall tree, this one. There's some fruiting pods on the top you can hardly see. And that vine, this vine is a morning glory. I have to devine it every so often. But this is what I wanted to share with you. This is the soursop. And when you come to Belize, ask them to get you a soursop, or come in soursop season. And if it's not in season, then have a tea made from these leaves. Okay, morning glory is not blooming. Oh, yes, it is. I didn't see the flowers, but they're starting to close because, see, it's morning glory. So let us continue. I had promised to show you a healthy neem yesterday. Oh, I see a little mahatita. Let me show you a healthy mahatita. This is, oops, king of bitters, mahatita. This is the most bitter herb on earth. There's nothing more bitter. People think neem is bitter. This one is more bitter than neem. I really don't think there's anything more bitter than the mahatita. That's my little nursery there. I'm still working on it. That's my little shed. Oh, you know what? Let's go see if the okra has any okra for me. But you look at this. And I didn't bring my scissors. Well, I'm gonna eat today. We're gonna eat today. I got 3 okra. That should be enough to to fix in a dal stew. I have some red split pea growing over there, which I'll show you another time. So between the red split pea and the okra, also have some ginger growing here, which you haven't seen. I have yellow ginger, and we'll harvest that another day. Wild yam, big misnomer. Is not a yam, really. Hi, Judith. And it's not wild, okay? I was in Alabama. I don't know if you all know that Coretta Scott King's mother was an herbalist. I mean, she was just beyond wise. This woman was a brilliant, brilliant herbalist and a healer in that area in Alabama. I had the pleasure of visiting her garden. I don't remember what, I mean, she's long passed away, but they've maintained her house. And Coretta Scott King was born there in that house. She was a midwife, not Coretta Scott King, her mother. And she tended to the entire community. It was this black community that didn't really have access to health care. But instead of kicking and screaming about it and going to the government and asking them and begging them to put a hospital in the area, they honored their traditional healers. They honored them. A lot of people studied with her, and if they're listening, I hope they holler out, those of you in that area of Alabama. She had wild yam growing in the forest as to the back of her house, and she had all of these medicinal plants still growing there, and she's been gone for a long time. So I learned about the wild yam there. So when I I was traveling, I was teaching a class at Judson College, and I was traveling, and I ended up in Birmingham, and I want to buy some wild yam before I come back to Belize. So they bring me this white powder. I'm like, what is this? Oh, that's wild yam. And the owner came, and I wanted to speak to the supervisor, and then I spoke to the owner of the company, and then I spoke to the lab, because they all kept insisting this is wild yam. Okay, what it was a yam that grows wild, that they cultivate, and they milk it. They puree it, wash it out, and then they take the liquid, kind of like the way you would make cassava starch, and then dry it. I mean, this is like beating the hell. This is like getting a doctor, beating the shit out of them, and then asking them to heal you. And then find out they were never a doctor in the first place, because this yam was not the yam. You could just hold it in your hand and tell, like, this is not wild yam. Now, wild yam has a reputation of, we use it for uterine cancer, any kind of problems that have to do with being a woman. It's a medicinal, it's a remedy, it's a medicinal plant that God put on this earth, that our ancestors taught us to use for healing the ailments of women. Anything that has to do with your reproductive system, including your breast. Of course, that's where the cancers hit. So it's more preventative kind of medicine. And these people, these naturopathic people, are taking this other wild yam, the one that you beat the hell out of, and this is what our people are taking, and they're taking it in capsules, they're taking it in tinctures. So what I'm saying is, when you get a wild yam tincture, just make sure it's a strictly medicinal herb, that it's made from the Diaspora villosa or the Diaspora, it's known by another name, something to do with an elephant, because the plant itself looks like the surface of an elephant. But in the Spanish areas, and the Spanish were a little more merciful with our African medicine than the British. So it's called, but their names were brutal. So it's called cabeza de negro, because the plant surface, the yam surface, looks like bantu knots. It looks like little braided boo-boo plaits. So I'm gonna show you the one that I have here. See if you can recognize it. It's going through a rest period. But you see the surface? So I have to replenish this soil. It's lost all of its leaves, but it's gonna shoot out some more leaves from here. So it looks dead, but it's not. So the yam under there is it's huge. It's almost the size of this whole planting bed here. So when I dig it up, it's that big. And it's woody. It's woody. If you go on my webpage, I'm pretty sure I still have some pictures of the wild yam there, of one that I harvested. So when the yam comes out, it is chopped up by a man. It's a man of good reputation, someone with a good heart, because you can't chop it up with hostility. It has to be a man who respects women and loves women and understands the role of women, like one of our kings, right? So he chops it up with a machete. Mine, the last one was chopped by Gomer Longville. The last one, he chopped it up for me, and I still have medicine from that. I was able to get a whole gallon of tincture, and it's an endangered plant. It was harvested in throughout the world by white coat company, and it was harvested to the point of extinction. So there are very few specimens left. I have specimens in private areas and have been able to share pieces of it to cultivate in other areas. This guy here, he won't get harvested. He's an old man. He's just here keeping me company. He's the father of all of the other samples. So if you come across it, what happens is most people, because they don't know it, they just think it's a big root and burn it or throw it out and think that it's trash. But if you find it, build a shrine around it. Build a shrine around it. It's just one of many plants that are here on this earth to help us heal, to help us lead better lives of quality. We're not supposed to be this sick, y'all. Stop being comfortable with all this sickness. We're not supposed to, it's like all, obese and unhealthy looking, hair falling out. We gotta stop this. We are a healthy people. We were built in the perfect image of our Creator, and everything we need to maintain that is here. It grows all around us. Our vessel, our human vessel, is not supposed to be a burden. It's not. This mothership here, this vessel that our unique vibrational frequency connected to God lives in, is not supposed to be a burden. It was never supposed to be a burden. But it's become that. Let's acknowledge it and stop pretending. Let's stop lying to ourselves, right? Stop pretending that it's all good, that it's okay. It's not all good and it's not okay. I have an Arzuism that people get pissed off. I'm not okay, you're not okay, and that's okay. Okay? We have to start there. Okay. All right, for the hair, well, if you're the menopausal years, that drop in estrogen does cause hair loss. Because I went through it. I had to, go through a wise period. So for me, it's just I had to stop dyeing my hair, and you can see it. You can see it on my videos. You see my beautiful locks were jet black, but I had to go gray for my bald spots to start filling in. They're completely full, and I love it. So the drop in estrogen can cause hair loss. The wild yam is estrogenic, but there are other estrogenic plants as well that you can just take. It begins with flushing out your organs of elimination. It may be that simple. Because hair, remember, is created, your body creates hair from protein, from the end product of protein. So if your intestines are unable to absorb the protein from your food, your body has nothing to make hair with. And the rest of your systems need protein, so they're gonna pull that protein from your hair. Your body's gonna get it from wherever it can get it. So we can sacrifice your hair, but you know, the cell walls and the integrity of your bones and your blood and that, we need the protein for that. So I would address the whole malabsorption thing by doing a purge. Use the ganibisi, use the jackass bitters. You can use cascara sagrada, which I heard was taken off the market. Like all of our healers, they're trying to turn them into criminals. So find the natural purges. You know, right now, we're not distributing right now in the US, but Island Herbs, which I believe is in Jamaica. I get a lot of, when I was in Jamaica, I was happy. You can get all the herbal medicines there. There's also Jamaica markets, traditional Chinese medicine I also use because they're still true. And that's health autonomy at its best, because they were able to establish their own medicinal tradition as authoritative. You know, we were beaten into submission. And while we were beaten into submission, they took all of our technologies and made it into an industry that we are now a victim of, that we are now puppets of. Well, I ain't having it. That's why I'm here. So that's the thing with the hair. Address the malabsorption and address the drop in estrogen. Okay. Any more questions? Where do I take you now? I'm so excited. You got me all psyched. Okay, so if you like what you're seeing and hearing, please go to my channel, like the videos, have a look at my link tree. I'm very proud of my link tree. When you open it up, you'll see the different ways that you can support the channel. I apologize. Some people were having trouble with the Patreon, so we're having that checked, but you can still do PayPal Love donations if you want. Just a simple thank you is thank you. Thank you so much. I really love talking to you. So I'm going to try to put this whole relationship that we're developing right now into some kind of pattern or system so that we know what to expect, right? Now 6:30 in the morning here, my time is the best for me. It's just that sometimes it rains and I can't bring the equipment out, and it's noisy because the rain here is loud, y'all. It's really loud. And we're gonna figure out what days of the week work best, but you can always get it. Yes, I do have visitors. When you come, I don't house people anymore. I used to. I was in partnership with a resort in Big Falls, but during the pandemic they sold the resort, so I don't really have those hookups anymore, and I find my life is easier when I'm just focused on teaching. However, I can make recommendations when you're ready to come down. I can hook you up with some people who accommodate my visitors, and it helps if you stay within the community, because whatever you spend in those resorts, I'm not trying to stop you from treating yourself to a resort, okay, but we never see that. That doesn't trickle down to our villages. So, you know, if you come for a week, maybe you could stay a couple of nights in the community. They have little houses that they rent. People sometimes can house you in their own domain. The thing is that the cost to have a lodging license in this country is so prohibitive that none of our people in the villages can afford to pay it, and they would never charge those ridiculous prices anyway. So I really thank God that B&B has been able, or the B&B laws have been able to come into the country so people can do what do they call that? Oh my goodness. They have a name for it when you house people in your house and you're not obligated to have like a tourism license or a whole bunch of all this prohibitive insurance and all of that stuff. So while you're here, when people come and get services, especially when the fertility services, that's a big one, where I can't really just send you the fertility tonic. I have to touch your you know, I have to feel what's going on with your body and your bones, and look you in the eyes and smell your breath. I have to be in your air to be able to figure out what's going on with the baby spirit and things like that. Um, Other remedies, you could just get them anywhere, or we could send it to you. If you want a tour of the garden, if you want to know the plants and stuff, the best thing is to come and stay for a few weeks, and then we meet every day and we go through it. What I suggest is that you come with a group so that it isn't, because it'll be a lot on you, and it's good to have company so that at the end of the day you have someone to discuss things with. Our community would love to have you. There's Jose. Hi. He's gonna be doing the planting beds. He helped me set this up here, so he's gonna be doing the perimeter planting beds. Good for he works the land, but he also has to do a 9 to 5 job somewhere. But at least they're off the street. We have a lot of young, melanated men here. Really nice population. There isn't much for them to do. The pandemic left the economy really, really bad. So I like to help them out. So I employ them, give them a little work here and there. Sometimes you just pretend stuff is broken so they can fix it because they need money and they're proud, you know. So, and they take care of me. It's been really nice talking to you guys. Give me the like. Give me the like. I like you. I'm gonna walk back. This equipment was sent to me by Sonia Molodeki from Canada. She sent me the camera, the tripods, a whole bunch of stuff. A gimbal, some stuff I don't even know how to use. But I'm learning, and it's helping me get back on track. Now, if I can figure out how to turn this thing off, I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna say goodbye. And I'll see you in a couple of days. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.